And welcome to episode 37 of LostinTranslationmon. I'm May.
And I'm Jay.
This week we watched Shurimon's Martial Arts Chronicle.
Or Big Trouble in Little Edo.
And Submarimon's Escape from the Bottom of the Sea.
And Digi 20, Digi 1000, Digi Leagues under the Digi Sea.
I think you mean it's actually 20,000 Digi Leagues under the sea.
Crap, I forgot you have that Digi in front of the Digi Leagues.
Yeah, so it's actually called Digimon. And before we start, we will take a look back at what Jay thought these episodes would be about before we watch the episodes. The first episode that we're watching is called Big Trouble in Little Edo, or Shurimon's Martial Arts Chronicle. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Shurimon's Martial Arts Chronicle? Okay. So they're bringing back Shurimon really quickly. Because usually they do an introduction of a Digimon and then they kind of go, okay, well, he'll come back later. Okay, hold on. Big Trouble... So it's a Big Trouble in Little China thing. We need... How does this go? You've got a ninja. That's a Shurimon. That's obvious. We need a gang. And we need a big, fat, old Asian man to be the bad guy. Does that sound about right to you?
I don't know. You're the one talking about what's happening.
Okay, so that's your Big Trouble Little China. You need an old Asian man. God. This is clearly a filler episode, like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what part of it's Shurimon's episode, so it's we're still getting Mimi references.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do that references Mimi that gives Yoli an opportunity to show that she's a different character? The frogs. I think we're gonna have the Geckomon back, or the and the tadpoles, and my giant, my big like old Asian man. I feel like whatever his name, the big red frog.
Shogun Geckomon?
That one. That probably fits the bill.
So you think he's going to be the bad guy?
I do. Yeah. I think he's going to appear to not be a bad guy and then end up being a bad guy.
So same as when you first saw him?
Well, no, he was asleep then, so he never really pretended. It'll be like the egg, where it's like, I've changed my ways, and then it's like, no, I'm evil.
And then Black Ring or something?
If you Black Ring his tuba, does he turn evil? It's not really part of him, is it?
Technically it's part of him.
Well,
we went off into Digitalamon's space, and that affected him, so...
Did you tell him a space? No. I still want to know how he got found. Like, he was away for 20 seconds.
That's a different episode. We're talking about new episodes now.
And I'm just saying.
Are you still confused?
I'm just Super Saiyan.
Do you think it'll be a good episode, like filler episode, or do you think it'll be a dull filler episode?
They've had a really good run of filler episodes. They've had better filler episodes than they've had plot episodes lately.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm erring on the side of it being good. I'm gonna be like 7.5. Confidence with not too much.
Well, hopefully it turns out to be that good.
Ideally. I hope they're all good. They're not gonna be, but I hope so.
The second episode that we're going to be watching is going to be called 20,000 Digi Leagues Under the Sea, or Submarimon's Escape from the Bottom of the Sea.
Have we met a Submarimon before?
I don't know, have we?
No, but like, this is information I would know.
No, we haven't.
Okay, well thanks. Being coy and dickish about it.
I'm sorry for being coy.
Alright, so what's a Submarimon?
I guess you caught me out.
Submarimon. Okay, so I'm thinking Whalemon comes back, because how else are they going to get under the sea?
Uh-huh.
And we've already seen the Divermon again, so they're not coming back.
Uh-huh.
Submarimon. It's probably just... Oh wait, no, isn't... I feel like I've seen this before. Submarimon, and it would make a lot of sense, but I think that's Iori's alternate evolution.
With what?
I don't know, the crest of whatever's left.
The crest of whatever's left is my favourite crest.
Crest of reliability.
Right.
I guess if we're giving 2 to all the new kids, that's how it goes. So we'd get a drill for underground and a submarine for underwater.
What do you think Submarimon looks like?
I think that he will look like, I don't know, a yellow submarine.
Like a yellow submarine.
A yellow submarine. And Iori will live in him.
And then be the walrus of Kukachu. Iwukachu. So you're abandoning Ken getting any Digi eggs?
I'm thinking Ken will end up with his own weird ninth. Oh, wait. Light and Hope are still. Oh, Light and Hope are still available for. No, they're not. They got found.
Yeah,
yeah. So he'll have his own. He'll have his own one. They'll invent a ninth. Yeah, they'll invent a ninth one. They invented Light. They've done it before.
And what do you think that the new invention one would be?
God, Oh, I'm really afraid it's gonna be something stupid like togetherness. Because everything, there's so many that would have worked thematically.
Is togetherness not friendship though?
No, that's not unity is not necessarily the same thing as being friends with somebody.
Unity sounds better than the crest of togetherness.
That's true. I agree. I didn't put much thought into that. Didn't really focus group it.
When do you think we'll find that egg? Do you think we have a while?
I thought we'd already found it, honestly, but before episode 25. I don't believe that the Emperor can sustain a full season. I'd be shocked if we got past 25 and he was still around.
So, at 25 for any reason beside it being the middle of the season?
That's it. That's the only reason. I feel like you'd resolve this and you go into your second arc. I can't believe this one's lasted so long.
Right.
Digimon was dead at this point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I think he'd just died. I think that was episode 12 or 13.
Okay. So, no, he was totally dead by this point.
Yeah. So, do you think the bad guy's Waymon, or do you think he just shows up as a good guy?
Waymon's always a good guy. Wait, no, Waymon died.
So did other Digimon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Leomon's back in Tri.
Yeah, and we have the Primary Village thing.
Okay. Yeah, Waymon's probably back. Because how else are you going to get below the sea? I think the idea of putting the kids in situations that the older kids were in, and then letting them do it differently, is pretty good.
Really? I thought you would have found that boring because they've already done it
because
before.
I think that's a really interesting character study.
Oh, yeah, I guess you
as
see
long as they
different
don't
ways.
fight most of the time, if they get to make decisions that are clearly different, that's a good way to do nostalgia and callbacks.
Right.
If you just have them fight the old enemies, then that sucks, right? If they just got into a fight with Metal Seedramon, you'd be like, why are you bothering?
So who do you think's going to be the bad guy in this episode, if at all? Because lately we haven't seen Ken for a while. We've just seen black-ringed Digimon.
We've glanced his face.
Yeah, but he hasn't been, like the last two episodes we watched, he was not in. I don't think we even saw him. In his master's voice.
Two? No, in his master's voice he was totally not there. And the one after that...
Shurimon, he was not in.
Yeah, well, he was in the background, dark spiraling an egg without us seeing it.
Yeah, but we didn't see that.
I feel like it'll be a new Digimon.
So a new Digimon is the bad guy?
Yep.
And do you think, like, the two episodes where we've had the kids receive their second eggs, you have not really liked, and you've preferred the other episode, like a filler episode. Do you think this will be better than the Shurimon episode and the Ragemon episode?
I hope so, because I think Iori has the most chance of being really interesting when he does this. He has the most chance of doing it well, because Yoli's kind of erratic and annoying at times, and Davis is garbage all the time. Whereas Iori I have no problem with it at all. He's just a little bit boring, and I think this will give him an opportunity to not be boring.
So you think this will be, like, he'll stop being bland and actually be more of a character?
I would hope so. So I'm going with it.
And what do you think you'll rate this episode?
Because of the spate of bad versions of this episode, I'm going to go with a 7 as really optimistic.
That is optimistic.
That is a very optimistic 7. Whereas we had a fairly neutral 7.5 for the previous episode. So that says a lot.
Anything else you want to say about these two episodes?
I really hope that TK and Kari make out in front of Davis really hard.
Okay.
I guess anyone who listened to our Try episode knows what I'm talking about. We talked about that like 25 minutes ago.
Yeah. So...
Sorry, I'm breaking kayfabe. I forgot. I'm exposing the business.
So I guess you'll find out about what happens in these episodes when you watch the episodes.
I will.
Alright, we'll see what you think then. Over to the show.
See you guys very soon.
surprisingly accurate.
I'm surprised. I'm so surprised how accurate you were. Like, I was like, oh wow, he thinks Shogun Gekumon's gonna be in this. Oh, he's so wrong. I forgot they were in it. I just knew it was Aigamon and Shirimon fighting, and that's all I remembered.
The one that got me because it was so delayed was Waymon showing up.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I forgot he was in it too.
no, I conceded to being wrong halfway through it.
Yeah, I completely forgot that he was in it, and I was like, oh, he actually does show up. So yeah, you're actually kind of spot on. And I guess we'll talk about a bit more of that later.
Well, I think we can all agree that I'm great. Awesome, great. We've established that show's over.
So on to Digi News,
Oh,
where we did have some Digi News, but we've already kind of talked about it. We had there was a try PV for the second chapter and like a few seconds of the third chapter, I believe.
we had a whole mini show about it.
So yeah, we did a special, and if you haven't seen that, we will try not to talk about it on the show because some people may not want to watch the PV and they may just want to wait until they see the whole thing, or maybe they haven't seen the first one yet. So we just basically watch our Try PV episode if you do want to listen to it. Don't if you don't. We won't talk about it on this episode because spoilers. And we have some translation Digi News, which TranslationMon Digi News, not Translation Digi News. TranslationMon, as in the podcast. So I guess
it's okay. It's okay. You're doing a good job.
Yeah. So we met a milestone on Patreon. Yay! So thank you to our patrons. And yeah, so we got to which I will thank at the end of the show because I'm lazy and I don't have the list up at the moment. Oh wait, I think I probably remember them, but I'll talk more about them later. Stephen Patamon, Wu Qinglong, Metal Mamemon, Joe, Thunder, Penguin Mage, Anime Guy, and Chakmon. And I guess I'll plug the things that I have to plug at the end. But yeah, they're great. And we have a YouTube channel now, which we will be putting videos onto as per usual YouTube fashion. And these videos will contain things like toys, board games, card games of Digimon stuff. Like I will be doing like maybe Digimon toy reviews, but mainly the point of it to make it LostinTranslationmon related is that I will be comparing the Japanese releases and the English releases of the toys. And I guess also Bandai Asia and Bandai Europe if they are different, which they have in some cases been different. And so yeah, we'll be putting videos of that first, like soon. But one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to play the Digimon board game with some friends. So that's cool. We kind of almost started the other night, but like 3 of us had to go home because we had work in the morning, including me and the guy who has the camera.
No, you're breaking kayfabe. That was totally from the real game. That was from us playing the whole way through.
Well,
Shh.
Well, Sasha hasn't even given me any of the recording yet because we do some recording, and I mean I have my own little cheap camera that I got from Aldi.
Mate, you're exposing the business.
But yeah, and it's basically Owen reading, which is one of our friends, reading the rules and being disappointed at a lot of things, like how you have to be like the wording's very strange, like you have to be entitled to earn Digi Destiny.
One of the weirdest parts about the rules, to be honest with you, is that like it describes there's a gameplay loop of like 4 stages, but it describes each one at a time as if there's a difference. So you keep thinking that it's going to be a huge difference and stuff like that, but it's not.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to basically loop through it a few times. We haven't played yet, but we will be playing on Tuesday because that's Australia Day. So that's the 26th. And $10. We're updating our Patreon to any Patreon person who is giving us $10 or more a month will not only be getting the unedited podcast episodes, they'll also be getting the unedited video content. And I'm pretty sure, I think I can probably fit that on Dropbox, which is the way I've been sending out things. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we cross it. So yeah, that's a thing. We'll be doing that soon. I would like to record one Digimon toy comparison this weekend. And
I don't have to be part of that, right?
No, you don't have to be part of that.
Actually, no, you do need me there. You just need me in the background being like, boo!
No, you'll be at work, thankfully. So it'll be comparing one that I've really had like my eyes on comparing for a long time, and that's the English release of the D-Terminal and the Japanese release of the D-Terminal. It's completely different. One has a 1+1 port and rubber grips. The other one is plastic and it's shows Digimon on it. Yay. But yeah, that's all. The next Patreon milestone is us having a Let's Play channel where we play Digimon and Digimon-like games. And to celebrate making that milestone, I will scan and upload this terrible self-insert Digimon fanfiction that I wrote when I was about 12. So yeah, if anyone wants to see that or watch us play Digimon games, I own all of them except for Digimon World 2 because it doesn't have a release here. And obviously the Japanese ones because I don't have an NTSC PlayStation 2 yet. Maybe one day. I do want to play Digimon World 2, even though it's apparently terrible. Yay. Also, I want
Just
Jay
like
to play
most of the Digimon games.
Yeah, but I want Jay to play Digimon World 2003 because Jay will like it because it's a JRPG with
You can't tell me
Digimon
what I
skin.
like.
I can tell you like this. You'll like it. It's a good game.
That implies that I
It might be
like
too hard for you.
JRPGs.
You've said you do.
I
asked
like
you.
Persona.
Yeah, it's kind of like no, it's got a different battle mechanic, but it's still fine. It's like kind of Final Fantasy.
I like Persona.
Everyone likes Persona. But yeah, but Digimon World 2003 is really hard. So
I'm not taking that challenge. It's fine.
it was hard for me when
I
I was like 10. So also it's also called Digimon World 3 in places that aren't Australia because we didn't have Digimon World 2. Also England, I guess, in Europe as PAL.
Is that like a Final Fantasy situation where the American Final Fantasy 1 was actually like number 3?
Yeah. But yeah, so that was Digi News and also Translationmon Digi News. I should come up with like a better name for our Digi News when it's about us. But yeah,
Newslationmon, obviously.
Newslationmon, okay, that can stick. Newslationmon,
It's
all right.
acceptably terrible.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll give it a go. So yeah, that was Digi News and Newslationmon, Lost in Newslationmon, and that's really hard to say actually. But yeah, so I kind of spoke really quickly through that because it's like it's not super important about.
I got lost in Newslationmon because
Yeah,
it was so boring.
Yeah, people just probably want to go to the actual content of the show. But yeah, so we'll be linking the YouTube channel in the description, so subscribe if you haven't already. There are no videos yet, but I aim there to be content soon because remember, we work a lot, like full time, besides the podcast. So
Look, I'm not saying expect a lot out of this. I'm just saying that if it's not the most popular YouTube channel of all time by like not a week, 2 weeks from now, then I will be sorely disappointed.
well,
I think that's reasonable. YouTube's a pretty small place.
Well, we won't be playing Minecraft on it until we get to the next Patreon milestone. So I guess it won't be successful because apparently to be successful you have to play Minecraft.
Oh crap, we're not getting the big Minecraft bucks?
Yeah, well, though I do intend on playing the Digimon mod called Digimob. It's the Minecraft mod, and I do want to play that if we get to that milestone.
You know how weird it is that people who like stream Minecraft are buying huge $50 million mansions next to the guy who made Minecraft?
Yep.
How weird is that to be able to like look over at your neighbor and be like, hey, thanks for the house?
First of all, we have an iTunes review. It was from Penguin Mage on the 23rd of December in the US store. Apparently, I couldn't find it on the US store, but I subscribed to this like update thing that sends you like monthly updates of like your iTunes reviews, and it said it was on the US store. I just couldn't find it. So yeah, it's apparently there. So 5 stars. The title is Digimon Everywhere, and it says, I stumbled across the podcast on iTunes while I was looking for something to listen to at work, and amongst all the ones I have found, this is by far my favourite. I watched Digimon as a kid and was hyped for Try, and I wanted to watch the original media in its raw form. However, I have neither the means nor the time to do so. The fact that this podcast focuses on the differences between the dub and the sub has really shed some light on how much I missed watching the old show. Not to mention how god-awful the dub can be, and yet the silliness of it that I enjoy. The hosts are also enjoyable, as May is the avid fan and Jay is more grounded and not going in with the nostalgia blinders on. His take on the series in itself is refreshing, and honestly, as much as I enjoy Digimon, I know what it is. Sorry, a marketable kids show of the late 90s. In mirror of that, I also find myself getting excited with May when certain parts of the series come up in discussion. Altogether, a well-rounded and fun podcast to listen to. Look forward to future episodes and possibly watching the episodes again as I continue to truck my way through to the latest cast. So thank you for that. Sorry if I missaid a few things. I'm not wearing my glasses right now, and I can't be bothered stopping the podcast just to get them.
I
So
will
yeah, I was kind of squinting.
I will take
But
compliments all day.
Penguin Mage is actually one of our Patreon patrons. So I guess that was before he was a or he or she or they was a Patreon supporter. But yeah, thank you. We really like when people say nice things. It makes my ego grow and it makes me happy.
Really, you should just do it all the time. The fact that you do anything else is confusing. That goes for the
So,
rest
yeah,
of you too.
it's nice that people like our content, and like it is really refreshing to hear people say nice things because we put a lot of time into it, like we put a lot of effort, and it's nice to hear good things.
It's true. Once you slog through all the hate mail.
No, we haven't. No, we don't get hate mail. There's some people.
No, we get. I think all we get is like that. It was 2 times, and it was like I stopped at episode 1.
No, if we've had a few times like people say that they don't like Jay, but that's fine.
It's okay,
I don't like Jay either.
I'm used to that.
I think we
I
had.
think it was twice. Was it 3 times?
I think we had one very early on who said that it
Oh,
was
that
a
was
fun.
one really early, yeah.
No, I'm talking about a different one that I don't think I told you about because I think I forgot.
Oh
But
no.
it said something along the lines of, "It's an okay podcast, but the accents are really annoying."
Oh well, we can't help that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, sorry.
Wait, no, we can't help that. We just put on our crap Irish accents.
Oh yes, the state of it. Oh, oh,
They
the
really
state
think
of it.
Irish people sound like that.
Oh, the state of it. Oh, the state of it. Oh, the state of it. The hungry bum.
No, you got a
Oh,
hungry bum.
starving. The hungry bum.
You got a starving bum. Oh god.
Oh, it's the hungry bum.
Oh, this Digimon program is not going well.
Ah, yes, the state of it. The state of your mon, mate. Oh, the state of it. Oh, the state of your hair, mate.
This is
I
garbage.
can do a really good Irish accent. I'm basically Irish.
Write
I'm not.
in if you think that May's accent made her indistinguishable from the average Irishman.
Oh, yes. They talk like this. Oh, yes, they do.
I
I watched
personally
hey,
find you indistinguishable from the average potato.
Hey, I watched Father Ted, alright. I know exactly what happens in Ireland. They drink, they say f***, and they say girls. Women.
Oh, it's fierce mild outside. Whose pants are these? I don't know. Let's just both try to jump in them at the same time and find out see what happens.
Oh, Father Ted, you must. Oh, Father Ted, go on. I really like Father Ted. It's a really good show. But yeah, so...
Father Ted, more like Daddy Ted. Whoa!
I'm not sure if I should censor f*** or not because it's considered less offensive than
the alternative.
Yeah, I probably will anyway.
It's probably much funnier that way.
What?
It's like they say potatoes and they say beep.
Potato beep. But yeah, so presumably that was a less annoying accent. I mean, a more annoying accent than our actual one because it was me putting on it's not actually a real Irish accent.
Are we culling listenership here? Does that mean if they can't handle it now, they'll be fined forever?
Oh, I don't think I've ever used my fantastic Irish accent on air before.
You sound like a fairy.
No, I think it's because there's a show called Moon Boy.
A crap fairy.
No, but there's a show called Moon Boy, and the main character...
There's no excuse for being
No, but the bloke from the IT crowd's in it, alright? It's really good. I think it's also maybe based on his life when he was a kid or something, but yeah.
When his vibrator was turned up to 8.
The little boy, he talks like that, but also because I guess he's a child and he talks like this. Oh, yes.
Maybe he talks like that when he's 5.
He's like 8.
So are you.
No. But yeah, so anyway, over to With the Will, we have Fexmith, who says, from the Shurimon episode, from what I recall, the kids weren't surprised that the spirals worked on adult level Digimon, but they pointed out that if the Digimon Emperor is using them on adult levels rather than saving them for perfects, he must have enough to spare. Watching the Armor Evolution clips and how in the backgrounds to Talmon's Armor Evolution only Angelwoman appears, I wonder if Hikari's character development was hindered by her Digimon only having one evolution, which she achieved pretty much early on, like pretty much straight away. Talmon could evolve to Angelwoman.
I don't think you can cap her character development when her character development is entirely based on being Jesus.
Also Ty's sister. Like, I think this season it's good that we get more Hikari because we didn't really get much Hikari character in the first season.
I mean, that is true. At the same time, I'm not sure this has been the best for her because she hasn't really done very much.
Well, his master's voice
That
like,
was good, and
arguably character.
I'd call that the sum total of her development.
Yeah, well, so far.
And mostly it was weird fish wanting the booty. So,
And,
good job.
Fexmove hopes that we one day have a segment which is called Jay the Digimon King, where you get to play the villain and say what you would have done in as an enemy.
Have we already done that?
No, you basically said like what you would do, like how you would write
Oh, right.
a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I often talk about what the bad guys should do.
Yeah, and I guess what the bad guy should have done is what you would do.
The problem with proposing what you or I personally would do as a Digimon bad guy is that a Digimon bad guy must have an overwhelming power that can't be beaten by the kids from the beginning, so that they have to build up to it. And I don't know what that power would be. My plan would obviously be very different depending on what was presented to me and what my tools available were. But I tell you, step one is killing all those kids.
See, I think I'd be a really good Digimon Emperor. I think I wouldn't focus on killing the kids or stopping them. I would focus on torturing them and making their life as painful as possible.
So what you're saying is you'd be a terrible Digimon Emperor because you'd make them resent you and want to kill you.
No, they wouldn't though. I'd be too good. I'd have I would have more Airdramon and they'd be better, and I wouldn't have to put dark rings on them because they would love me because I'm great.
So when they died, you would be at an emotional disadvantage.
See, what I would do is so Ty would basically break down if Hikari died, right? So
you just said you wouldn't kill them.
No. I'm okay. I'm gonna renege on that. I'm gonna like somehow bind Ty down and then just kill Kari. I mean, I like Kari, so I wouldn't actually.
Is this what happens in your self-insert fanfiction?
No. I had no friends, so I was just by myself.
So you had to kill Ty's sister.
No, but I did have multiple Digimon. I had a Hawkmon and a Vmon, I think, from memory.
That's a random choices for you.
Why?
Because I know all your favorites, and that's neither of them.
I like Hawkmon and Vmon. Hawkmon was my favorite when I was a kid.
To be fair, all the Digimon are your favorites, but I mean, of the kids' ones, that's not up there.
Anyway, what I would do is I'd basically torture Hikari and then kill her very slowly. And then, Ty would have to watch that, and then I'd do the same to TK. Or maybe the same to Matt.
The problem with this plan is that it gives all the other kids the opportunity to rescue them.
No, I'd do it somewhere, I'd kidnap them in the night when they were asleep.
What, because you know where they live?
Yes. Pretty sure Ken could find out where they live. He has a computer.
Are you a super genius like Ken in this situation?
Well, I would be, because I was the Digimon Emperor.
In 2002, you couldn't look up people's home addresses.
Also, you could if you were really smart.
No, it's just not available.
No, you get the yellow, you know their full names, you get the yellow pages, you know where they go to school, you get the yellow pages, and you look at that and say, right, Morimiya, gonna kill that guy. And then, I'd steal him and stuff, but... My thing is, I wouldn't...
If it weren't for the soccer episode, he wouldn't even know their names.
Yeah, but he does. But I would play football because I'm cool. Anyway, so what I would do is...
Soccer.
Go away. I'm talking.
Soccer.
Football. Anyway, so I would have a partner Digimon, but I wouldn't be cruel to my partner. I would be completely loving to it because... what's more powerful than we've seen in this series is the bond between Digimon and partner. If I have a good relationship with the Digimon and that Digimon's able to evolve because of how nicely I treat it, I could have this strong Digimon who could just destroy the children.
And why are you killing them? It's a strong motivation.
Paimon clearly loves Ken, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be a good Digimon Emperor, but Digimon would love me because I'm great.
No, they wouldn't.
So Chapelmon on With the Will also says, in reply to what Fexmove said about Tailmon only evolving, and he says, not to mention the fact that Tailmon is already pretty experienced by the time she meets Hikari, and Hikari really only joins the team in the final arc. I'd say Hikari-Tailmon is probably the most unique team given these factors, whereas Tekeru-Patamon had much more time to grow and support each other. Hikari-Tailmon is almost like an advanced, mature relationship. That's why their day together in the last episode was so sweet to me. Tailmon needed a partner that loved her, and Tailmon is mature and experienced enough to understand Hikari. who is just unreasonably mature for her age and experience. See, I like when they had that day out together. It was kind of cute. I liked it. And
I agree.
I like seeing the relationships between Digimon and their partners, and what they do together. Like, we see some in the first episode, and the best part of the episode is we get to see Chibimon and Daisuke in the bath.
I agree. Thanks, Try. Thanks, Try, for nothing.
Chuckmon then says that he agrees with you. He doesn't like
Of
Michael
course he
either.
does. Everyone does. Have we established that I'm right?
No, not all the time.
Yeah, just I'm right. It doesn't matter about what, just in general.
And then Chuckmon says, as much as I liked Takeru and Hikari missing in the Wild West episode, I also loved that the Dark episode features only Hikari and Takeru. I like that too. Like, I know, I think I like to see, not all the kids together. I like to see them in bits because I feel we get more development for the kids who are there when there's less kids there.
It's definitely a unique opportunity versus adventure, where I do complain that they're hamstrung in that they always have to walk over to the school, go into the computers, do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the ability for them to shuffle the team, pick and choose who's going to be in which stories. I don't think they use it super often, because obviously there's an advantage the kids see and have everyone together.
Uh-huh.
But it's very nice to have as an option, whereas in adventure it would be like if you're not kidnapped, you're there with the rest of them.
Yeah. And then Chuckmon says Hikari is a lot stronger than the shonen writers will give her credit for, as she makes too convenient for a damsel in distress. Shonen catnip. She needs to understand her light powers more. Often I think it's the same for Takeru, as hope is the most important crest of all. And I think that, often their crests are bundled together.
I guess, which makes sense for light, because light's meaningless.
Mm.
Of course you get bundled with other stuff. You are the stuff that comes out of the sun so that people can see. It's not an emotion. It's not something that people have.
But I like the fact that light is sort of like this magical trait that she's just magic. That's her thing. She's magic. And I'm pretty sure that's what they're aiming at. That she is a very magical human sort of thing.
She's magic in that she gets possessed by not God, but the spirit of Genesis.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Over to Tumblr, Anonymon says Dagomon's plan of creating powerful offsprings, although creepy, isn't far-fetched, considering Hikari has mysterious light powers, so he thought of combining light and darkness.
Hey,
also,
no one here was arguing that was a bad plan. Everyone's pretty much in agreement that would totally have worked. I don't think we ever stated that it wouldn't. Just that it was really creepy.
Yeah, it is super creepy. Also, when Hikari first arrives in the Dark Ocean, she is scared of the place but goes straight up to the even darker tunnel, like a typical hero would do in that kind of situation. As for the next step, a crest where you need to be true to oneself is what Miyako needs to put some order in her chaotic self.
Did I forget to mention when we were doing that episode that Miyako's crest comes out of goddamn nowhere? But that's only vaguely acceptable because it perfectly mirrors when Mimi's crest came out of goddamn nowhere.
No, I think that purity suits Miyako more than love does because she's always rather honest about what she's feeling.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that because we have established the knowledge and love were mixed up because of gender.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the new crest.
No, I think it suits her.
I don't mean it came out of nowhere as in her emotion. I mean it physically came out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah,
it was stuck under the ground, and it wasn't like this episode today when they were looking for one.
No, I think they might have mentioned at the start that they were looking for a Digi egg at the time, and they stopped to have lunch. Maybe. So it was mentioned at the start of the episode.
But she just happened to be standing on top of it, just in the same way that they just happened to crash a boat into that cactus.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's also the only one where no one tried to lift it. It came up to them. So I think it's unique in that respect.
Mega love cactus, crests in disguise.
I kind of wanted it to come out of a cactus. That'd be cool.
Did it have come out of a bird's nest?
So finally on we have the last Anonymon on Tumblr, which says, why doesn't May trust Mako? So what I'm about to say won't spoil Chapter 2 PV, but it will spoil one of the first Chapter 1 PVs, not necessarily the Chapter 1 movie. But yeah, if you don't want to hear anything about Try, you want to block your ears and go la 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 la.
It's because Mako stole her name.
No, it's because
jealous?
No.
She is upset at this invasion into her space.
No,
It will
no.
not be acceptable. If her name was Edgar Co, it would be okay. But Mako is right out.
No. What I'm saying is,
Right out.
okay, so everyone really trusts Mako. People are shipping her with all the characters. Everybody, like, I'm talking about everyone in the fandom, everybody loves her. And I'm thinking, you people seem to forget that in the first time we saw her, the very first, she was under a bridge glaring at the children. That's not something a good person does. Mekumon's clearly infected. Like, I've seen bits again, and yep, I can see that she's infected. But I don't trust Mako. She just comes out of nowhere. She's like, I'm a Digidestin too, lol. And this is after, like, all the Digidestin in the world. Like, she would have popped up earlier.
So what you're
And
saying
but
is
I
that we
guess that
shouldn't
could be.
trust Michael
No, I'm just
because he
no,
popped
but this.
out of nowhere.
I know, I'm just saying that has sort of reason. She hasn't popped up in Adventure or Adventure Zero Two or any of the movies. I mean, that could be because convenience sake and they just wanted a new character. But honestly, I think everybody seems to forget that she was the girl under the bridge holding the cat, glaring at people. We didn't just see her silhouette, we saw her glaring. She didn't look happy. She was glaring at the Chosen. She wasn't, looking at them wistfully like in the second try PV. She looked, wistful. She didn't look like that. She looked angry. She looked evil. And people are trusting her way too easy. And people, I think, have forgotten about that. So I do
What if
not
you're
trust
getting
me.
misdirected by the... What if it's like throwing a red herring at you? You're getting fish slapped by the writers.
But we haven't seen
Fish slapped, baby.
We
Fish slapped.
we haven't seen that scene yet of her being under the bridge and glaring at the children. So I don't trust her.
Like, since that was in a 1 PV, doesn't that mean that it won't happen now?
No, I think that they were just using a bit from later on. I don't trust her. I mean, she could. I mean, she just. I mean, she could be fine, and she's fine, but I just don't trust her. I don't. I just think that it's too convenient, and
It is convenient how she stole your name. You're right. That sucks.
and her Digimon has almost the same name as her. It seems like I think she might be the Digimon, and she might have, come up with an entity that's still part of her, but physically separate.
That seems
That is
like
her.
a ridiculous wild guess.
Yes, but this is Digimon. So yeah, that's my theory.
Ridiculous.
I don't trust Mako, and I don't think I've mentioned why I don't trust her. I just said that I don't trust her. But yeah, I don't. I just don't. Like, she was glaring at the children. Why was she glaring at the children? That's not a friendly thing to do.
Just change your name. It'll be fine.
So you don't agree with me? You think that Mako's a good person?
I'm hoping that she's good, but I'm hoping that the kids have to think about it, but then that she's good and that she has, for the first time ever, we have an evil Digimon with a good kid. So it's hiding in plain sight, kind of. That would be different. It'd be the opposite of the Digimon Emperor.
Also, Alphamon, I don't think is necessarily evil. Alphamon was fighting Mekumon, who was infected, and Mako also was being.
I will say,
fighting.
refusing to communicate while people fight you is often an evil trait.
Yes, but what if he was just, trying to fight a bad guy that he'd already known was a bad guy?
But the kids show up and he should say, "Hey, look, that's evil. I'ma fight it."
No, they started fighting first.
Yeah,
Started
and he
fighting
would
him
say,
to protect-
"Please stop. I can talk to you," because they'd stop.
I think Alphamon's under orders.
He can still say, "Hey guys, my mission's only for that one. This is why."
I think it's sort of in self-defense when you have all these things.
It doesn't
coming
matter. He's
I
so
don't know.
much stronger than them.
I just think something smells fishy about Mako.
That's a cat. They always smell fishy. It's because
I
they
said-
eat.
Well, Mako, not Maku.
It's always around.
I know Makumon's cute though, and basically I think maybe a Tailmon clone. And also, I'm really excited to see what Huckmon's doing. That is okay. Huckmon evolves to one of the Royal Knights, right?
No.
And Alphamon is a
Nope.
Royal Knight. Huckmon's the little thing with the rhino horn with the cape. Looks like a little dragon with goggles. Really cute. It's a little thing that we saw Shadow
Right, the
of,
red thing.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we're kind of going to talk a bit about Try Chapter 1 now for a bit. Not for long
We
though.
could just stop.
No, but I have to say this.
I'd be cool
So-
with just stopping.
Okay, so Alphamon is a Royal Knight, and Huckmon evolves into Jesmon, who is a Royal Knight. So we have two Royal Knights, and I just think that they are hunting this evil person called Mako, who is probably a Digimon.
Jessmon?
Yeah, it's based on Jesus, I think.
Is there a Jessmon and a Jamesmon?
Go away. Okay, so onto the email Gmails. Gmail emails.
Prepare for trouble and make a digi double.
And read the Digi Postmon.
So we got an email from Edgar. We got two, in fact. The first says that I'm relieved that Jay is unimpressed. So they were also unimpressed when they watched these episodes as a kid. The Digimentals exist essentially to sell merchandise, which is interesting. I didn't even think about that because they're so weirdly designed. Story-wise, it kind of works, but like the rest of Zero Two, they want to eat their cake and have their cake and eat it too. They want to continue adventure, but they also want to reset everything. No one seems to remember Digimon Adventure. It's as if the first time it ever happened. It's as if it's the first time that it ever happened, and everyone got Men in Blacked after Adventure. Which, I mean, it's not exactly true. Everyone remembers it, but no one remembers it effectively. Like TK and Kari haven't even told people about the Dark Masters. That seems like essential information.
Mm.
Then he agrees with Yume that Hikari should have been the lead and that Miyako should have been the bearer of knowledge. But, they're girls, so we're seeing some odd sexism coming from the guys in both the dubs, in both languages in the following episodes. To be fair about the both languages thing is you couldn't change it that much in English. You couldn't make Kari the leader by changing the dialogue when everyone is moving the same and their mouths move the same amount.
Mm.
Hell, in the English dub already made Davis worse. Yes, you can make Davis worse though, because he's just annoying.
Yeah.
Disagrees that Davis is like a Taichi clone. He's so much worse and he hates him even more after a rewatch. Edgar would rather take a large passive secondary character who, when he speaks loudly and with interesting things to say, than a loudmouth, hot-blooded, saintly vegetable who says and does terrible things but is allowed to get away with it because he's a golden boy. I think this is also a reference to our comment about Cody versus Davis, in which
by the way, like, I was gonna count down the results, but yeah, like, everyone who said that, like, who contacted me about it said that you're right, and also, like, you argued your point best. So yeah. And also, I think that my opinion on Iori was tainted by my opinion on Cody, which is who I knew first, because Cody is much worse.
That said, I think if I had Digimon, it would be LandslideMon, because that's how I'd do it. Anyway, on episode 14,
I get it.
So in episode 14, well, Miyako's in this. Hooray! Miyako isn't awful, and the writers didn't want to give her anything with this. She gets worse later on. Oh, she gets worse later on. I thought she'd gotten better. Oh well.
I think she gets better.
They're going to say that really May's fanfiction about Yoli. Still a strange name with a strange origin. That's not even wrong. We got the tweet, just we wanted Lee in the name.
Yeah, and actually we got mentioned by a Facebook page. I think it's in Spanish.
Digimon.net or something?
Yeah.
Digistorm.net?
It was Digisoul.net.
That's it.
And yeah, so, and everyone, like, I pressed translation on Facebook, and everyone seemed pretty upset that was the reason. Like, they didn't like the reasoning.
It's kind of hilariously garbage, but hey, we'll take it. We uncovered it. So apparently your fanfiction about Yoli is better. And he asked
about Yoli?
I think it was the name, maybe. Yeah, because that was the context. Apparently they have something called the Mid-Atlantic accent, and he asked if I've ever watched Frasier. I've seen episodes once or twice when they were on television when I was younger. Just
Wait, don't you have it on? Oh no, that's Seinfeld. Never mind.
Yeah, Frasier is the British show with that guy whose name is Frasier and his brother Niles and Lilith Crane. It's British. You'd love it.
I thought it was American.
It's in America. It's about British people in America.
But it's still an American show though.
Yeah. And I did watch it, yes. I really liked it. I just never watched a lot of it because, I was 12 or whatever. I don't know when it came out. It was a long time ago now.
It came out in 1993, so the year we were born.
Okay.
And concluded 2004, and it was a spin-off of Cheers.
Yeah, I knew that one. A further question for me is why didn't Digitamon just murder Mimi?
Well, he tried to. He attacked her.
Yeah, I mean, he did his lamest possible attack of run forward a little bit.
That's his attack.
So, yeah, it's not quite Vamdemon all over again. And in this situation, I would say, like, There's the kids weren't defenseless this time. They had all their Digimon around them.
Mm-hmm.
The key thing about Vamdemon is that he is standing there with goons, and there are two children with one Digimon.
Yeah.
It's like, and he's the bigger evil overlord. Anyway, yeah, the Digi Egg Digimon with legs, Digi Egg with Digi legs. Yeah, is not quite so threatening. And lastly, Miyako was always honest about how she felt and never held her tongue. Well, I mean that makes her sincere, not quite pure, but like I think that so I think that the English makes more sense.
Mm.
Sincerity fits her better than purity does. And John Summers sent us an email about how his master's voice is a high contender for their favorite of the season. It was very memorable and just very unlike the rest of like Digimon in general. They also don't like the idea of international Digidestined. It takes away from somewhat of the mythic like hero feel that they had in the first season and removes the special feeling since there are so many of them now. It also raises questions like who chose all the new children, why aren't the Japanese chosen children trying to get in contact with the others? That's a really good question I hadn't even thought of. Um, why aren't they explaining the Kaiser's situation and like forming an army to oppose in? Because their strength in numbers. That's a legitimate point. I didn't quite get so far because I think when I asked you this, I was just like, why don't they all just swarm in? But I didn't think about like the intermediary step of the contact.
Yeah.
Because even if I was wrong and there weren't 8 million Digidestined now, though there statistically probably should be, you would think that Koshiro one time would be like, hey, what if? What if I try to contact more than just Willis?
Well, that's what Tekuru's doing in Try.
Is he?
But we see him post a thing to that Digidestined of the World
Oh, yeah,
website.
no, we do. But, no, but he's already kind of in the middle there. And he never talks about it.
Yeah.
And we got finally an email from SP. Or is it Spur? I go over this every week. I can never. Anyway. Um, in Kipsop. What they liked about his master's voice was the voiceover at the beginning, giving the episode a more serious tone, which, I mean, in English they soon kill with all of Kari's thoughts, where she yells for help in her head, but most like calls for the fire department.
No, the National Guard, I think.
Something like that. Um, they also like in the first episode this week how Shurimon goes off on his own to fight his own battle, and I agree, that's probably one of the best parts of the episode. Iori has the best way of activating the Digi Egg. I'm curious to hear what he has to say about it. He being Iori, and if it's the same as how he feels, probably about me, I assume they're saying here, how he feels about Siegemon being useless on land. What do you mean? What is Iori's way of activating the Digi Egg was just grabbing it, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay, maybe, I mean, we'll get there, surely. Fillers delay the conclusion of an arc, and it seems the writers are just buying time. Yeah, we've got a lot of filler episodes lately. Like in
Yeah,
a row.
but they've been alright. Like,
And-
no, it's been like plot filler, plot filler.
And finally, the international chosen children don't make sense. Like, of course they don't make sense. Because if there were any international chosen children, here's the thing, Michael should not have showed up for the first time now. Because at the very least, he like the rest of the chosen children would be constantly making expeditions into the digital world to fight the Black Towers.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can say, hey, well, if you go into a gate in America, you'll be so far away you won't even heard of the Emperor because Michael showed up from America.
I know, but my theory is that they don't know there's such a big problem, and Michael only finds out this episode as we hear Mimi explaining it to him, so he doesn't know.
It
and
makes
the only
so
reason
little sense that no one in the world could know but Japan.
Yeah, but Jay, that's because the only reason the chosen children know about it is because Tai found out when he went to the digital world to rescue Agumon.
No, but like, there's got to be at least one guy in Ethiopia who occasionally glances at the screen and is like, this looks different. Why is everyone wearing this black jewelry? That's
Also,
weird.
time zones. We haven't seen them because it's Japanese time zone, which is a few hours
but
after us.
When it's Japanese daytime.
No, before.
When it's Japanese morning, the people who have afternoon can get in there at the same time.
I just don't think that they know because Mimi did tell Michael.
Yeah, and that's a plot problem, not a solution.
I think it's a good explanation.
Because you came up with it.
No, I think that's actually true though, because Michael didn't know.
It makes no sense that he wouldn't know, is what I'm saying. Like, I assume that Ty found out the very moment it began, because, like,
He
for,
found out when he went to the digital world in the first episode.
yes, and that was, and I have to assume that's pretty much as soon as the black rings started going around.
No, because he was Ken was pretty developed. He'd built a coliseum and he'd like
Hey,
built stuff.
Colosseums were already there.
And a bit like, built bars in them to trap Digimon, and he's built his base.
Hey, to be fair, there were Colosseums with soccer fields in them. You don't know what could have been there.
Good point.
Okay, we're out of emails.
On to I Will Show You DigiWorld. We have Fexmith on With the Will, who has shown us some Brazil things. First of all, we have Ligimon to show, and Ligi means connect. And they're basically like these Tarzo-y things. Like
They're not really, they're cards.
Yeah, I know, but like they're sort of thing, they were in like Cheeto packets. They were little cards, and one side had every chosen child, every Digimon, and a few scenes, and the other side had a domino-like game pattern with the crests. So I tried to find more pictures, and I'll link the pictures that Fexmove has provided us in the show notes. And I tried to find more, but what I did find when I was looking for these were these like unofficial Digimon Crazy Bones.
Crazy Bones?
Yeah.
I don't
You remember Crazy?
I remember
Crazy Bones?
what they said. I remember the name. I don't remember what they are.
Oh, there's
Were
little
they the
blobby
candy?
things. No, they were little.
Oh no,
toys,
I remember
like
Crazy
knuckles.
Bones. Yeah.
Like they're basically trying to reinvent the knuckle bones thing with the sheep knuckle bones things that kids used to play in hundreds of years ago,
No.
like ancient times. Yeah, it's based on that.
Okay.
They tried to reinvent something, and it kind of was a fad for like a few years. But yeah, so apparently there were Digimon ones, and I immediately went to eBay, and I couldn't find any, so I'm really sad. They're like from Mexico, and they were also with Coke, and they're also with Lay's chips, and I'm really sad I don't have any. So if you do happen to have any, please, I'll give you my address. Please send them to me.
That seems dangerous.
I'm so lonely.
You must fill the void with Digimon.
So yeah, I like seeing things from different places in the world that are Digimon related. Like we got the Digimon Digifex and like Digiclicks and stuff that were in ships, but like other places got other stuff that was cool. Also, Fexmith showed us some music videos that was by a Brazilian singer Ricardo Cruz, and he got to make with Koji Wada. It's called Sem Barreiras. I can't say things.
Can you link the name to me again so I can read it and attempt it?
Yeah, sure. Hang on.
I will attempt it so hard.
Oh, it also has a Japanese title, which is
Sembareras.
Kegaranaki Jidahe. And after winning a contest to sing with Jam Project, making 2 songs, one in Portuguese and Japanese, called Sempre Sonhando Yume Obito, and yet another one called Heroi, entirely in Portuguese. That means they got Jam Project to sing in Portuguese.
Nice.
So I'll also link those in the description. See, I like it when I'm shown new things because these are both new to me, and I like learning things and being shown things. It's nice. So if you want to send us any emails, we have an email which is LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com. We have Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook. We have a discussion thread on With the Will. We will have a thread on Reddit, which I will link in the description. You can comment on this episode on SoundCloud, or you can message us on SoundCloud. And if you give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, we will read it out, and I will be very happy.
5-star review. It's very important.
Episode 15 begins with Airdramon. Yay.
Boo!
And then look, I would like to just give a warning. I don't have many notes on this episode, because I did not I thought this episode was pretty dull. So I'm just going to warn that this part may be kind of not so good with the description, because I did not take many notes.
I took notes, but I think they were mostly jokes. So let's go.
Well, that's here we go. So Daisuke in Chibimon. Yep.
So I've written down that I think that it's gonna be a joke episode because of the tone of the announcer, but I can't remember it anymore. It was like martial art. No, but it was in Japanese. Oh, because he did like the whole. I think
That's because that was Shurimon talking.
Yeah.
So Daisuke and Chibimon are in the bath, and it's completely adorable. I love this. His sister is concerned by the laughing and hopes that he's okay, because she doesn't know that he has a Digimon.
I was really kind of expecting her to kick down the door. That's how Japanese I thought this was getting.
So Miyako's watching TV and her dad changes the channel.
She's
And then
so mad.
and then we see Poromon freeze, and then Miyako's brother kicks Poromon by mistake, and he's not wearing a shirt. And he thinks that it's a toy, and Miyako pretends that it's a toy. And then she emails the other children in bed, basically just saying, "Hey, can we go to the digital world tomorrow?" But in the dub, she says, "Hey, can we go to the digital world tomorrow? My brother's annoying me."
Terrible habit where he reads out
Yeah.
the email, then reads the name of the person who sent it, like all out loud.
Yeah. I also noticed that the screen on the D terminal says "Make A" in the English version, because it's obviously Japanese in the Japanese version, but it says "Make A," but what she says doesn't start with "Make A."
She could just backspace it, I guess.
Also, Tekeru has basketball posters in his room. I know, I thought that was a nice touch.
It won't like that in 3 years.
So everybody is adorable in these scenes. So when they're at school, we see that they're in their summer outfits. They're wearing different clothes. And Hikari notices that they haven't fought the Kaito in a while. And of course, they go to the digital world.
Right before this, actually.
Yep.
We get to glance at the digital world beforehand. It's one of the things I love most about this episode, actually.
Uh-huh.
Is we see the Gekomon, we see Shogun Gekomon, etc., and they're having a lovely time in the digital world, and then a Gekomon runs in and goes, "Holy crap, a Dark Tower showed up." And you see everyone freak out, and you get this. I don't think we really ever get to see Digimon before they get Black Towered. We always kind of see them afterwards. It's the first time I think we've ever seen, like, besides the kids as Digimon, or like minor things, this is a whole city being like, "No, we don't want this." And
Right.
it's cool. It's a nice like look behind the scenes. It's something we
Hmm.
don't usually get to see.
Yoli says we're going to teach the Digimon Emperor a lesson once for all, instead of just Miyako saying, "Digital gate open, chosen children, let's go."
I don't know why they got rid of Let's Roll. Let's Roll's more of an English thing than it is Japanese.
Yeah, they got rid of that.
It just seems weird. Let's Go has so much less energy. Like me right now. Can't sleep, gotta do show.
I'm not sure if they skipped this scene or if they just moved it, but there's this scene where Geckomon's, saying Gecko, 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 and he's like panicking, and he goes over to Shogun Geckomon, and he says, "Oh, Gecko, 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 there's a dark tower," and Shogun Geckomon like screams, and it's kind of funny. Like it's like, "Oh, Gecko, Gecko, Gecko," and then like he sees the dark tower, and he's pretty angry. I don't remember this being in the dub.
I don't think they got rid of it. They just don't yell Gecko in the dub. Anyway,
I don't remember this whole scene in the dub.
they definitely warn about the Dark Tower.
Oh, maybe I just missed it.
So I guess I'll take it from here. They get to the city, they get to the little town in the digital world, and they look around, they go, "Well, this is weird. Did we end up in the real world?" Because they're in a, I guess, Edo period Japanese city, which is a weird thing for the digital world to have, but why not? It's basically one of those pages on Wikipedia. Uh, and then they get mobbed by, like, what's it? It's Mushroomon
Yes,
and
it's
Flowermon?
it's Mushmon and Floramon, and Davis points out something that's pretty fair enough, and he says, "What are they waiting for? They already have us surrounded." So they're sort of he makes a joke about how the animation is sort of just them being like stared at from a distance by these Digimon who clearly have them surrounded, and I
Right,
like that.
before that, in fact, there's a bit of awkward silence, which is really weird in English, because usually they fill in all the silences as hard as they possibly can.
Yeah, like silence, but where's the joke?
Well, they got there. It's the "why aren't they attacking us?" So
But we learned that Tailmon has another ability. I don't think we've ever seen her use anything besides Neko Punch and Neko Kick.
yeah, and so now she has hypnotism.
No, she makes people lazy. Because Floramon just sort of falls down, like, "I quit, I'm tired."
No,
It's cute.
I think she was convinced that she was tired, but she also gassed us. I think that she was hypnotized to gas herself, and the gas made her tired.
Oh, yeah. So that makes sense because that's what that was. Yeah, because she has the allergy pollen attack.
Yeah. So, like, 'cause she uses it twice, I think.
Which
Yes.
is, to be honest, Floramon has a pretty good attack. Like you could just go up to people who had hay fever and just like attack them. That's pretty
Yeah,
easy.
but they have to have hay fever first. That's one of the really rare Pokemon types. Hay type. So yeah, the Floramon and the Mushroomon attack. There is a tiny, tiny scene they cut out, and I don't really know why. And they're all fighting, and I'll recap the bits that they don't cut out. It's like Vmon pinwheeling his arms and running through a bunch of them. It's Gatomon punching one in the face with cat paw, whatever. But they've cut out Patamon punching some of them in the face.
I think it's because they try to remove violent parts, maybe.
But like everything else remains. It's just that like 2 second bit that they got rid of. It's really weird.
Mm.
Okay, so um then
Hawkmon gets the shuriken thrown at him by Aigamon, and
or
Aigamon saying,
Ninjamon.
I'm the best. I'm the best ninja." And Miyako says that Aigamon is the second best in the digital world, and was Hawkmon's the first. So he evolves, and Miyako is very
So the
impressed.
distinction here between English and Japanese is really, really distinct. Where the episode had been pretty much the same up until here, and now Ninjamon in Japanese is like, this calm, like, I am the Shuriken Master. You will not challenge me. Like, it's an honorable thing. Whereas in English, he's
Mm.
like, Ha! I'm the Shuriken Master. You think you can fight me? Ha ha! Just like,
Yeah, because they have to make something comic relief. He has this really high pitched voice, like a little kid, instead of being a pretty serious, like, I'm a serious ninja.
it's so annoying. It's painful.
So we see that Miyako is chased after by Mushmon and Floramon, and then we get to cut to a scene where the children, are talking to Shogun Gekomon, who seems a lot nicer, and then TK lies to the viewer by saying that he's seen Shogun Gekomon in action before. He hasn't. That was Mimi, Joe, Gomamon, Tai, and Agumon in Princess Karaoke. He's never seen him before.
You seen him? Oh wait, was he not even around?
No, he wasn't. He was with Patamon, and then he was when he found Matt and Ty at the restaurant. At this point, he was probably, he may have been with Matt at this point, and they'd just found Izzy, maybe, but no, he was not around. He's never seen a Shogun Gekomon in his
Well, look,
life.
we've just established that they Men in Blacked everyone in the show.
Even the children?
Apparently, to an extent, clearly.
Yeah, but I just, the dub lies. I think the dub, writers may have forgotten who was around at certain
Hey,
points.
he's an original chosen child. That's a Digimon callback. Obviously, he was there.
Maybe Ty told him, but I don't know. He hasn't seen him personally.
It's true that you wouldn't say that if you were just told.
So Shogun Gekomon falls asleep. Aigamon puts a dark spiral on him, and everyone starts to run away from the huge rampaging gecko giant thing.
Sorry, I want to cut back because we're about to be there anyway. But just rewind a little bit on the Igamon and Shurimon thing. When Shurimon evolves and throws his shuriken or whatever, or deflects things, Igamon has this biting comeback of, I don't like that. It's in the exact place where you'd be witty and you'd say something as a burn, and he's just like, I don't like that.
Well, it's in his character to be, cool and ninja-like.
Yeah. So he puts that on him. He wakes up and goes nuts.
And then Igamon challenges Shurimon, and Miyako's on a kite, and it's really cute.
Yeah, so they're flying on a ninja kite, which is a bit weird, but okay. I mean, it makes Yoli obviously really vulnerable to being killed by shurikens, but
that doesn't come up.
Let's pretend that's not an issue. And there's an excellent piece of comic relief where Yoli goes, "All right, well you better win now," and then instantly Shurimon is punched off the roof. So let's see. Big Red Frogmon.
Yeah.
That's what his name is apparently here.
Big Red Frogmon.
Oh, it occurs to me, we see a ninja sneaking. It's the first time in any anime that a ninja actually sneaks.
And they don't just jump out of nowhere and, sexy no jutsu.
And wear orange. Bright orange. There's a bit where Vmon is talking and he describes something as easy as a V.
Yeah, I did think that was weird.
What does that mean?
That was in the original, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in Japanese. That's what I'm reading out. I also like that Big Red Frogmon he's evil. He's got Black Spiral and he's rampaging through the town, but he's still singing like crap. He's committed to his art, or lack thereof.
It's very cute.
So yeah, the kids have their dude's armor digivolve for actually more than 2.5 minutes. It's obscene. You can skip a minute forward in the show and they're still evolving twice.
I think they should have done the split screen evolution.
Absolutely, but
or maybe just skipped it, like how that time where Palmon evolved to Togemon, and it was just like, Palmon, you've got to evolve, and then Togemon was there.
It's obvious there just wasn't enough animation done, so just put it there.
So this episode was just fighting. So I didn't. Yeah,
a lot of it was
fighting.
Think
you'd like. I assume you don't like this episode.
It's not a good episode. It's not as bad as you put it to be, though.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. So
So
Shurimon, we see that after Shurimon frees Aigamon, we see that Shurimon can fly, and I did not remember that he could fly.
yeah,
This is completely new. He uses his shuriken to fly, and also his feet shurikens.
he can helicopter his like back shuriken.
And I'm not sure if this is a huge spoiler or not, but I've never seen him do that. Like, besides this episode, obviously, but I don't remember him ever doing that again.
Oh, also, this fight goes on. He's getting Izuna dropped by Ninjamon. They use Shogun Gekamon to break the Dark Tower, and I was actually really surprised. Like, I read it written down. Haven't we established that the Dark Towers aren't necessary for the spirals to work? He breaks the tower. Everyone with a ring is fine. He has a spiral. He's still evil. I was kind of impressed that they remembered continuity at all.
Yeah, of course they did.
And then this is the bit of the episode I actually really like. It's that Shurimon and Ninjamon keep fighting. Like,
Yeah, because it's about their honor.
yeah, so the fighting has a point to it. They're trying to establish something. And then I start freaking out because it became an episode of Naruto. He does like the shadow clone technique. And then he runs around him, and in English they make math jokes.
Yeah, because they couldn't just have, fighting at all. But yeah, I did like
Ninjamon has a terrible moment where he says, like, we're one short. So I brought some friends.
Yeah.
So if you're one short, you don't make 10 clones of yourself. That's crazy.
Yeah. I did like how they went back to fighting. It was something that I really liked about the episode. I would have preferred if, from my memory, this episode was just Shurimon and Aigamon fight, and there's some plot. But there wasn't that plot. So then Miyako says that she thinks that Shurimon's really cool and that she loves him. But this is just her in the dub. Yoli just says, "Oh, I think you're cool." So I don't know why they removed that she loves him. That seems like a very dub thing to have.
Also, love is a bit inaccurate here. She should yell that she sinceres him.
Miyako, I can feel your purity. So Daisuke then suggests getting the dark spiral off Shogun Gekomon by cutting off the ring along with his hair. Hikari calls him cruel, and Daisuke jumps around saying that he was joking. In the dub, Kari says that he's insensitive, and Davis jumps up and down and says,
Davis, sometimes you're so insensitive.
I'm so sensitive I use a special toothpaste so my teeth don't hurt when I eat ice cream.
It's really weird actually because in the Japanese, she is clearly messing with him. Where she's like, "Oh, you're so mean," and then turns around and she was laughing because she's making fun of him. But in English, it is posed that he has convinced her to laugh by being wacky.
Yeah, basically.
So rather than giving her agency and giving her like an opportunity to mess with somebody, she's just having a snap girl reaction, and then he gets.
Boys are funny.
Exactly. It's kind of crap.
I didn't even think of it that way, but yeah, wow.
Also, I'm sure we've talked about this before, but Pegasusmon Silver Blaze is green. It's called Silver Blaze.
Yeah, because his hair's silver?
It's white.
Yeah.
He shoots a green bar of energy.
Yep.
Silver Blaze.
Okay, good point. I never thought of it that way. What are they called in the dub?
I have no idea.
All I remember is Rosetta Stone from Nefertimon.
Rosetta Stone!
The Angel of Light!
I forgot one thing about the English. My favorite thing, which I think you talked about once, and I didn't follow it exactly. But it's the armor evolution and the samurai of sincerity.
Yeah, it seems like I'm not sure if they redid it or this episode. It seems more like he pronounces it strangely in this episode. The samurai.
The samurai.
Yeah, samurai. Well done. Like I think every podcast has made that joke now.
Oh, also, right at the beginning, the kids are talking about the Digimon Emperor, and they say, well, don't worry, he may have the brains, but we have the brawn. And you have to think to yourself, he can control perfect level Digimon, and he basically controls 70% of all Digimon in the world.
Yeah, I think, let's be real, he has brains and brawn. Yeah, he is a threat. So speaking of Ken, we now see Ken, and he's saying, oh, let them feel joy for now. They won't be able to comprehend what I'm planning. And then the dub, this is just him saying, they won't even be able to see what's coming because I'm so much smarter than them. Like, they make him say, it really annoys me.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that they put him in because we haven't seen him for a few episodes. And now it sort of gives reason for why. He's planning something
Doing
new.
other stuff. That plan better be good, though.
Well, what do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. That's what Obnoxious Synopsis is for. I'm not doing
I
it
guess
now.
in the next episode we see more bits of his plan, I guess.
No, we see none of his plan. He just says, I'm stalling them.
No, he sees we see Digimon on his
Oh,
screen. I
kind
guess
of.
we'll talk about
They're
that later.
crap, though. Last thing is when Geckomon's talking about the red Geckomon, and he yells, "He's big and obnoxious, but we like him."
Yeah.
And I just have written here, that's how May feels about me.
Yeah. The truth.
At least I'm self-aware.
Yeah, unlike me. I think Edgemon's cool though.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So what did you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
Like, it's fine. It's not the worst thing ever. I think the thing that saves it is that it has no plot. I know that sounds crap, but like, as a random fight scene goes, it had an interesting thing going on with it.
Mm.
Like, it had its ninja fight. It had all those elements to it. I liked seeing resistance from the general population of Digimon. I like them trying to help, and then like the intrigue that resulted from it. And it wasn't special by any means. It's nicely average.
So, thinking back to what you said in Obnoxious Synopsis, do you think you were right or wrong?
So, I called Fat Old Asian Man as a bad guy. Ding. Filler. Ding. More Mimi. No. Frogs come back. Ding. Shogun Gekomon bad guy. Ding. Good run of filler episodes, so it'll be good. I guess 7.5. That's not accurate.
What do you think you'd give it?
6.
Wow, you rated it higher than I'm going to start rating things, but I think what I should start doing from now on is rating what you would give it as well. I guess I'll do that for next week, but I gave it I kept on jumping between a 3 out of 10 and a 5 out of 10 because
5 was a consideration, but 5 for a filler episode is just pure functionality. Like if it didn't have the Shurimon ninja fights, yeah, it'd be like a 3 or like a 4. Probably a 4, yeah.
Yeah, Shurimon saves this episode.
Absolutely. Like because that's actually something interesting going on.
Like I don't know, I didn't like the I mean, it was fine, but I don't know, bits seemed a bit boring. There was too much fighting. I did like the Shurimon bits.
I'm hoping that all the fighting they pack into this is fighting they will take out of other episodes.
Well, the next episode doesn't have much fighting in it.
It has some. It has a couple
yeah, but
minutes.
not a huge amount.
That's
so what
true.
differences did you notice, and do you think they were justified?
I guess the big differences I noticed was that, I mean, besides Davis getting to be funny rather than Kari being funny, they removed a bit of violence, which is weird in this entirely fighting-centric episode. There's a really great line by, I think it's Davis, and they're sleeping next to Shogun Gekomon, and they're like, "Hey, if we all just armor Digivolve, that's all we need to do. We'll just do it in a cinch." And it was like, Davis, you're exposing the business. Like that's just the plot of the episode, isn't it? If we all armor Digivolve, we'll just win.
That's the plot of Digimon.
He just says it out loud. And obviously the biggest thing is that it took away Ninjamon's like cool, calm demeanor and just made him like really annoying.
Yeah.
Like it's awful. It's so frustrating because it takes away all the mystique of the ninja fight. It takes away all of the Naruto fandom. I don't know. I wrote down in big caps like I didn't know when Naruto started because I don't know how old it is. I looked it up eventually, but I'm like, oh man, Naruto stole everything from this. But Naruto was 1997. This is 2002. So,
No, it's not 2002. It's like 2000.
Either way, it was 3 years after.
Yeah. So on to the next episode. Something I noticed when I was watching this episode is that the original children and their Digimon are shown way too much in the dub's opening. Like, they use clips from the first season opening with the adult level Digimon attacking. They use that in the opening.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Maybe it was just in the version I had, but they should. And from memory, I think they've always been there, but they just don't fit. They're not main characters. They're supporting characters. I don't know. I just realized that for the first time, and it was really kind of strange because I don't feel like they fit there. Maybe they were just looking for extra clips. So we see that the children are stuck underwater by a Mega Seadramon, and Takeru is talking about how he's worried what will happen when they run out of air. Then we see that Iori's saying it's all my fault, and he's all curled up in the fetal position. And the dub changes this to him being scared of water.
Yeah, and I really don't like this because like his guilt and his responsibility is such an important part of his character arc going into this episode that making it that he's afraid of water is just it kills a huge percentage of the story.
It hinders the episode, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Like, they make him seem like, a bratty kid, as opposed to, he's worried that he lied. He's worried that he's being dishonest. And that's why it's his Digi-Egg. So we get sort of like a few hours earlier, which I believe that the narrator says in the original.
So I noticed how it would be I'm like, how did they get here? Did I miss something at the end of the last one? Okay, no, it's a flashback kind of episode. Count Dooku looks at the crowd and is like, I bet you're wondering how I got here. Well, it all started 6 months ago, and it flashes back. But when it flashes back to 30 minutes ago, then recounts from there, and then it's them walking into the thing like, there's a Digimental in here. And then it cuts to after the flashback began. So they may as well not have bothered with that opening. I feel like it was that they were running out of animation, like they needed extra animation, rather than it actually served any plot purpose.
So they find a signal for a Digimental in the rig, and Iori says straight away that it's his. And Hawkmon says, no, it could be Hikari's or Takeru's. And straight away we see Iori's quite unlike himself, and he runs in. Like, that's not like him. I guess because he's worried that he's going to fall behind with not having a second Digimental. And Iori's a kid that I think, since he's younger, he feels sort of like an inferiority complex, maybe? I don't know, maybe I'm looking too deeply into these characters. He runs straight in, and then a Mega Digimon attacks the oil rig. And in the original, we basically just have the kids screaming, and of course the dub has to add a funny line, and TK says,
This is really gonna hike up oil prices!
Thanks, TK. We need that.
Because the things that happen to an oil derrick in the digital world totally affect what happens in the...
Yeah. So water starts flooding in, and they find a shutter which blocks the water, and then Iori says that it's all his fault, because that they're down there, and that he blames himself for running in without thinking that it might just be a trap. And this is just,
Like, when you think about that, though, it's kind of a stupid thing to be sad about. He had no control over it. And
yeah, but it's related to his Digimental.
Kind of. Sort of. Question, actually. In Japanese, what was the Digimental in the version you have?
It's honesty, I think? No, faithfulness, isn't it?
Faithfulness.
It has different interpretations of what the word they use for that crest is.
Okay, I thought Joe's was purity.
No, Mimi's is purity in Japanese.
Wait,
Joe's has been also said as sincerity.
So that's what I meant. I thought it was sincerity.
Yeah.
Which would make more sense with the do not lie storyline.
Yeah, but it's still the same about honesty and faithfulness and reliability. It's the same sort of thing.
I don't know. Faithfulness just seems like a really awkward phrase, I guess.
I think that might be the direct translation, maybe? But it makes less sense. So I think it's known as honesty or sincerity, but it's also the symbol is a cross. So I guess that links to faithfulness, because faithful religion sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. I can see how you're getting there.
So yeah, I think it's mainly honesty and sincerity. So in the dub, instead of Cody blaming himself and saying, oh, this is all my fault because I rushed in, Cody's just saying this is exactly like this recurring dream that I have where I'm trapped underwater and I can't get out. Instead of him just, standing up and saying, this is all my fault, and the kid's saying, don't worry, it's not your fault. In this, the kids are saying, what happened at the end of the dream? And he's like, oh, I just woke up. I don't know, it annoys me that they're removing, a character thing to just sort of like, oh, he's scared of the water, I guess. Like, I don't know why they had to change that. Like, it doesn't seem necessary.
Because he's little grey Cody, and he can't have a character because he wears grey.
After watching this episode, I think that I realised that my feelings for Iori were mainly tainted by my feelings for Cody, which is basically boring little kid, is a little kid, that's his character, he's a kid. Remember TK? He's a kid, this is also a kid. You're a kid now, you're a squid now.
He doesn't want to be a squid now, he doesn't want to be in the water.
So then Patamon finds an emergency escape pod, and they all say that Iori should go. Iori refuses because he doesn't want to be treated differently just because he's the youngest, and that's his theory of why they're letting him go first. Cody just says that he doesn't want them to treat him differently because he's scared, which I think's stupid, because if I was scared of something, I would most certainly like to distance myself from the thing that is scaring me.
Like, it was kind of weirded out how eager everyone was to get him out there. Like, I kind of get it. I understand that assuming everyone finds him so reliable, which makes much more sense in English, which is weird. But still, if you're assuming everyone thinks he's reliable, okay, you get him out there first. But what they tell him to do is find Joe, which is, I feel like this is another one of the situations where like having the older kids around really undermines your new kids, because it doesn't matter who goes up in the pod now. If anyone else went up, they could also have found Joe.
I think it's because they wanted to make him feel like, because he feels guilty for this, I think that they want him to help get them out so he feels better about himself. Like, he's worried that it's his fault, so they think that if they make him feel like he's fixing it, then he might feel better about himself.
Maybe?
Like, if you knocked a glass off the table and your mum said you'd buy a new glass, you'd buy a new glass. But kind of like,
I wouldn't feel better about it.
I'm just saying that, you might feel better to fix something that you did, or maybe like you break something and you're like, oh no, and you put it back together and you're able to fix it, and nothing happens because you fixed it. Like, I don't know. I think they're trying to say maybe he'll feel better if he helps us instead of just staying there and feeling sorry for himself.
I don't know. I think the most comfort I've ever had in my life is like in this situation is like, oh no, I broke something, and someone just puts their hand on my shoulder and they're like, don't worry, I can fix it. And like they do that, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, but that's basically what Iori's going to do. He's going to go, Joe.
No, but that's not
fix
it.
This.
Oh, I guess, but he has to go do it.
Yeah, so he's still helping. But also, it's a Cody plot. It's in the script. When Daisuke and Iori start arguing, Hawkmon says that it's like him to act this way because he's so responsible, and he wants to be there, and he's blaming himself for everything. But Hawkmon says that because of their fighting, you can't tell who's youngest. I don't know, it just annoys me that like they had to change it to like a sassy bird. Why? Why is everyone so sassy in the dub? It's not necessary.
You can't stop the sass.
Miyako suggests drawing straws, and they make Iori go first, and he draws the coloured straw because, of course, Miyako rigs it. With a little kendo move, he hits her hand and she drops it all and reveals that they're all red. And her reasoning for this in the dub:
The first one was so pretty I just couldn't stop coloring.
Fantastic.
Like, that's her fake excuse, because they immediately say that everyone's in on it except for Davis and Vmon.
And also, I think TK doesn't know either. I know it's implied that the girls know.
No, because doesn't TK say like you guys didn't know?
No, that's Tailmon.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I know, I was under the impression that the boys didn't know.
I was under the impression that it was just Ty. Not Ty, just Davis. And
yeah, Ty.
They're basically the same, yeah, we've been over that.
Then Daisuke and Tekeru force him into the pod anyway, and tells him that only Ikakumon can help them, and then he tries to contact Joe, and Joe's voicemail is an absolute gift to humanity in the dub.
Hi, this is Joe. Sorry I can't answer my cell phone right now, but I had to turn it off so it wouldn't ring during my biology test. I'm pretty good at biology, so I'll turn it back on real soon, unless the test is on molecular biology. Oh, I have to go study. Bye.
Oh, Joe. I love you, Joe. Cody goes home to get some stuff, I guess, and his mum asks him to pick something up from a family friend to sort of run an errand. And then Iori says that he can't go. He can't, but he can't say why he can't. And his mum's saying, "Why? You have to tell me." And then his granddad says, "No, because it's better to not say anything than to tell a lie."
Yeah,
which affects him a lot in this episode.
It does, and I think that's a really interesting. He's very supportive, so that what he's saying is totally nice and honest and like reasonable. Which is like if you force him to say something, he will lie to you, and so it'd be better if he says nothing, because lying is really bad.
Yeah, and
so in the situation,
it's kind of a good lesson as well.
He's being nice and wise, and it's a great situation for it. So Iori takes that on board. He goes to Joe's cram school. I've always thought that name was silly.
I guess it's when you cram.
Cram school. Cram. And he tries to ask, to get a message to Joe. They don't interrupt tests unless it's like a family emergency. And this is a really like elegant way to test the character, they're presented with a situation where you've just shown they've internalized that they should never lie. Now you've also now they've also been presented with a situation where if they don't lie, their friends might die.
And he thinks about it, and he thinks about Miyako dying, like Miyako specifically dying. Like she's the first one he thinks of, and then the others are just sort of lying down.
What I really like is that it just cuts to it cuts to the kids in the thing, but then it cuts to Joe running out, being like, "Oh God, my dad!"
Yeah.
You didn't have to watch him lie. You just know what happened.
Yeah, you just know that he lied. Also, during this time, Armadillomon suggests play word game. I believe he says Shiritori, which is, the word game I explained many episodes ago. But in the dub, he suggests they play checkers, because I guess do English speakers not play word games? I don't know. I mean, it's a game. I think they were going to use the straws or something. So Joe has to call Koshiro for a favor, and what the favor is explained more in the dub, and he's saying, "Oh, Izzy, we've got to get an old friend of ours back." So the children are back they're underwater. They find the Digimental, and I think there's an animation error because the Digimental is floating.
I guess I didn't notice.
And then it's like, it's in stone the next thing, but it's in the air. I guess they forgot to draw in or animate a rock to be like there, like it's meant to be in the rock. But it's just floating. It's hanging there. It's chilling. It's having a good time.
The air is worthy. The air is reliable.
So Armadillomon hopes that he evolves into a hot blonde guy. And then
in English he says, "I hope it looks like this," and points to his own imagination.
Yep.
And Yoli's like, "I agree. I want him to be that."
Yeah. Instead of the porcupine, he says, "Yeah, hey, Kari, I hope it's the handsome one." But she doesn't say, like, she whispers something in Hikari's ear and Hikari laughs. But I really want to know what it was in the original. Maybe something naughty? Probably something naughty. That's what's implied. So everyone is laughing, and Hawkmon says that it's Armadillomon's faith in Iori that has spread to all the other children in the dub.
Laughter's just a way to cover things up. Sort of like I do in the cat box. How sad.
That's really gross. Why would she talk about that?
Because she's a cat. Did you forget that she was a cat?
Maybe, I never forget that she's a cat.
Maybe you forgot that she was a cat, and you would have forgotten more if we didn't remind you that Garamon's a cat. So guess what? Garamon's a cat, guys. So Ikakumon shows up and remembers Megasidramon from his fight with him in Tokyo, but he says that he's not sure if he can win without him being Zurdomon. So they fight for a bit, then Waimon shows up with Joe and Iori in the mouth. And yeah, I cannot remember Waimon being in this episode. Maybe my memory's just super bad, but I cannot remember Waimon being in this episode.
He just crashes through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man. "Oh yeah, I'm a whale." Why did I think that was funny?
So they say that this is your Digi-Egg, Iori, and they say that it fits him well. But Iori disagrees and blames the Digimental for him lying. He says, "Because of this, I lied, and lying's the worst thing that I can do."
And then, at least that kind of makes sense in the Japanese, because it's made a problem for his life. In English, he's like, "I don't want it because it caused us trouble."
Yeah, he seems much more of a whiny baby in the dub.
Especially because, it didn't cause you guys trouble. You wanted it and you came down here, then trouble happened.
So then Joe explains that there are bad lies and good lies, and bad lies hurt people and good lies save people. So this is a good lie because it didn't hurt him and it actually saved his friends. And then Armadillomon in the dub says how this is like how they're a good Digimon and how they're a bad Digimon. So Iori says, "Oh, okay, I guess," and he picks up the egg. And then we see Armadimon evolve to Submarimon, and Iori can go inside, and I think that's really useful. So in the original, he says, "Let's go," as he jumps into Submarimon. But in the dub, he shakily says that he needs to face his fears sooner or later. So they beat Megasidramon, and the point where Megasidramon comes up in the water is they change the music to a more ominous tone in the dub. Like to say, "Oh yes, he's evil and he's going to attack the kids," but this is just it's still sort of like a bit ominous, but it's like they don't have the music in the original.
Also, isn't a Kakamon like a walrus?
Yep.
You can't breathe underwater.
He can breathe for a certain amount of time, enough to swim underwater. Like, you know how frogs can be underwater for a long time? And also seals. They can deep sea dive.
I guess. I don't feel like they'd be able to fight a big sea serpent in like rocks underneath all there for a while.
It's also a TV show. So
Even
then
I
we,
wouldn't fight one of those down there, and I
so then
always
we,
win.
so then we see Ken, and that he has a Monochromon and an Airdramon on his screen.
Both proven to be the strongest of his cohorts. Never
They're dinosaurs.
defeated.
No, dragons and dinosaurs are really cool. If I want a
Never
dragon and
defeated.
dinosaur, I'll get a dragon and dinosaur. So we see next scene that we see Submarimon is showing Iori the ocean, and Bolero's playing. And then there's a turtle and also Gomamon, and this is basically in the dub Submarimon like showing Cody that it's like the water's fine and there's no reason to be scared of it.
Finding Nemo was robbed before it
So-
even existed.
So what did you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
I really like the Japanese. The English ruined the interesting part of this story arc. Like the story besides Iori was everyone is jammed in a tube, and they didn't really do anything interesting with it. I thought there was a lot of potential for there was so much potential for a cool story of like, okay, there's 5 people, one escape pod, and go see what happens. But they didn't do that, and okay, that's fine. That's their prerogative. Everyone agreed on Iori, so everyone just kind of annoyed at each other in the meantime, which isn't really fun to watch. Whereas Iori's story of like, okay, I've been taught not to lie. Got it. Oh god, I have to lie. What do I do? It shows a really interesting like independence and thought process. And the English makes him just whiny and not like water.
Yeah, he was much more whiny. So, thinking back to what you said in Obnoxious Synopsis, what do you think you were right about? What do you think you were wrong about?
Waymon comes back. Check. Iori's evolution is reliability. Check. He looks like a yellow submarine. Check.
No,
He's yellow.
he's got yellow feet, but they're just his feet.
He's a submarine.
Yeah, he's a submarine, but he's not yellow.
Check. And Ken has his own egg of something else eventually. Yeah, so we've run out of Digimentals. That's it. All 8 have been used by these 5 kids. So Ken needs his own. Who knew? New Digimon bad guy. No, they brought back Mega Siegemon. Is there a metal Airdramon?
No,
That's weird.
it's
Well,
Gigadramon.
I guess
It's Gigadramon and Megadramon.
Metal Siegemon can fly.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was horrible.
And I hope it's better than the second Digi-Egg episode. And Iori is better and has promise, and he's a less boring character. And that's true, yes, he's a lot better in Japanese. In English, he was ruined for you.
Yeah, basically, and I think that's why I don't like Iori.
In Japanese, he was improved. 7 out of 10 is probably accurate. I don't think it would get more than that.
I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I'm not just because I'm not sure if it was actually that good or if it was so much better than the last episode.
That's definitely a comparison. I don't think it's nearly an 8.
I enjoyed it a lot better than the last episode, and I think that it was much better. Like, I was fine with watching it twice. The last episode, I was like, oh, I still have to watch this episode again.
I hated watching
And that
this one
doesn't
twice,
happen much.
just because the moment it was from right at the beginning, he always like, I don't like being under the water. I knew something was wrong.
Yeah, and I guess they like to do that, ruin character development. I guess it's still character development, like he's not scared of the water anymore.
Yeah.
But he never was to begin with anyway.
Yeah, it's the introducing a problem only to solve it in the same episode thing, which they've done sometimes, and it was annoying. And this one they fabricated it in English because like the be upstanding. This is wisdom, Grandpa. That's at least a theme that carried over, and we knew was a part of Iori's life.
So, what differences did you notice, and do you think they were justified?
Okay, to glance at my notes over here. The big one, obviously, and we've discussed it a lot, is that Iori is, instead of feeling guilt, it's that he's afraid of being underwater. He also thinks that when they're trying to get him into the pod, he thinks they're making fun of him, and it makes him just look crappy and, like, really annoying, because as a character. Let's see. Armadillomon suggests that people play checkers on his back, which is not possible because A, his back is one color, and B, it's curved. Pieces would fall off. Also, he projects images now, I guess, of him being hot.
Yeah, basically.
And
that's his new power.
Someone asks if Waymon lost weight, and I would suggest
does.
that yes, he has lost at least one entire brain's worth of weight. from when he
Aw.
was shot.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so this confirms, because this is the same Waymon.
Yeah.
So this confirms that if you die, you reincarnate and you basically become yourself again.
Same with Sukamon and Shumon, which we saw.
True, but this confirms it, right? Because the last one was like, hey, you want to go on a date? And it was like, oh no, it wasn't like, hey, it's you guys.
Yeah.
This one is hey, can you call up our friend Waymon? You know the Waymon that we hang out with? The only one who died?
I think he may have evolved from baby stages, but he was able to because he was friends with the chosen children that he regained his memories.
Oh, you see, that's reading too much into it. The show would have said something. Like, that's just saying magic happened. So this is different from how you think it works.
Or maybe they do keep their memories when they're reincarnated. No one ever knew for sure. Everyone sort of said, we don't know. Like, I think that's what they actually said. They said, we don't know if you'll be the same Digimon.
I think this is evidence that you just end up the same.
Yep.
But that said, that means that the threat of death is just a delay. Death is meaningless in a universe in which you reincarnate as yourself. Death's an inconvenience, not a lasting impact on you.
These episodes, like, how do you think they ranked for, like, compared to the other episodes we've seen this season?
What do you mean? I just rated them.
I know, but, like, do you think they were, like, the worst episodes or the best episodes?
No, the one that I have the most distaste for is Davis getting his second Digimental.
So you think that's still the worst episode?
It's the one I dislike the most. Now, I don't know if that makes it the worst episode, but to me it does. Like, if I were to go and look at the list and give an objective rating, I'm not sure if that would be at the top of the bad list. But giving it a subjective rating, it is. Because all I remember is that they're basically static the entire episode in the one place. They're stuck in this stupid fight. The fight could be interesting, but they don't make it interesting. And Davis, all of a sudden, doesn't want friends and has no realization that changes his life in any way, but everyone pretends like he does.
Yeah, I think that the episode 15 was probably the worst episode this season, probably. Like, it's the one I was not. I guess also the first episode wasn't too, like, the episode 1.
Yeah.
Also wasn't too good, but that was also the first episode. Like, you learn stuff in the first episode, like.
Also, I guess you have to start making differentiation between bad and boring, where boring is definitely a terrible thing for a piece of media to have, but bad means damaging to the series. And I think that Davis being super annoying and terrible and having pseudo-philosophical realizations about his life that actually go nowhere is damaging in a way that just a bunch of fight scenes stitched together is not.
So yeah, episode 15 for me was definitely boring.
Okay.
So the Digimon that were introduced in this episode, Igamon and Sumeriamon, what do you think about them?
Igamon's a Pokemon. He's just a Voltorb with fishnet legs and shurikens. He's a Naruto character who got compressed into a ball. I'd say he kind of looks awkward, like not the kind of shape you would expect a ninja to be. But at least in Japanese, I thought he was an interesting character.
Yeah, they ruin him in the dub.
Yeah, I don't think he's that interesting at like a design because like he has the same but opposite thing of what's he called? Deputymon.
Yep.
Where if you take the costume off, where Deputymon was really interesting that he was like this like void of blackness. Instead, he was just like this weird brown and white ball.
So I like Igamon, but probably because in the Digimon World PlayStation 1 game...
Boo!
Oh no, not Boo!
Boo!
He evolved from Palmon.
Weird. Makes sense though with the coloring.
Really? I never thought it really made sense, but I just know
the
that
coloring is the only thing I can think of that's similar.
And Togemon was not in Digimon World.
To be fair though, turning into a big angel man makes less sense.
Yeah, Togemon wasn't like... I don't think Togemon had been shown yet at all. Like, the Digimon World came out before the show, and I believe maybe around the same time as Digimon Pendulum, the fourth one where Togemon was in maybe came out around the same time or maybe after.
Wait, so who evolved into Igamon?
What?
Who evolved into Igamon?
Palmon.
Oh, that makes no sense, right? I thought it had Patamon again.
Yeah, that's why it was strange that you said suited. But yeah, it evolved from Palmon in the in Digimon World.
Okay, well I guess they did a ninja thing again with the same Crest.
Yeah, but I don't know. I found that was a bit of interesting trivia.
It was definitely trivia.
Go away. I found it interesting. So, Marimon.
It's a submarine. I think it's like front pointy nose is meant to be after like that swordfish looking thing, but it's like a saw instead. I know it's meant to be based off, but it was really weird when like it's attacking Mega Seedramon and it fires torpedoes made of oxygen. That felt dumb. Like just hit it with your stupid saw nose.
Well, I think it's like a swordfish, but it's also the harpoon.
It should have fired it. No, there's a swordfish looking thing, but instead of like the point of its nose like a swordfish, it's a broad flat thing like a saw.
Yeah.
I will try to find it for you. It's creepy. It's like a real life Digimon.
Oh, it's like a real life thing?
Yeah. Oh, it's just called a sawfish.
Oh, yeah, isn't that like a swordfish sort of thing?
Okay, I'm not sure if you're hearing me correctly. So let me find you a picture of it, and you'll be.
Oh yeah, okay, that one. Yeah, that's terrifying. That does not look real.
Yeah, it's gross. So that happened. So I think that's what it's based on.
Jeez.
Because Submarimon has like the teeth on the side of front harpoon.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Okay.
Are they nice? Like, are they? Oh, they're sharks. So probably not.
Sharks are the dicks of the ocean.
No, dolphins are.
Dolphins aren't great.
Yeah, dolphins like beat up each other. Their sharks are much better because dolphins are smart.
Dolphins are the assholes of the sea, whereas sharks are the dicks of the ocean.
Swordfishes are listed as endangered or critically endangered. Probably because they're ugly.
No, you probably got that there. Okay.
I feel sorry for it. Yeah, that's totally Submarimon now I think about it. Oh, Jesus, that's a big spiky thing on it. That's pretty cool. How do you just evolve a saw on your face?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
That's pretty cool. It's a stingray. That's not a shark.
Well, yeah, you read it wrong.
But no, it says also known as carpenter sharks.
Mm.
Should not be confused with saw sharks. Oh, they're like are saw sharks alive? Saw sharks are alive still. Oh my god, that's adorable.
A saw shark?
Oh my god. Oh my god. It's got a little. I thought, they're Jurassic sharks, but they're still alive. And the Japanese saw shark has little anime eyes.
Oh, that's gross. I don't like that.
No, but look at it. Oh my god.
I'm done.
That's
I'm
so
good.
cute.
All right.
Oh
Everybody will join you for the next episodes of Prince of Strido. Oh, and a Ghost of a Chance.
Or Odaiba Memorial.
And Run, Yoli, Run.
Or Follow the Kaiser's Base.
What?
So the show notes will be linked in the description. And thanks to our Patreon patrons, Stephen Padamon, who you can follow at Stephen Padamon, Wu Qinglong, who you can follow on his Twitch at twitch.tv/WUQINGLONG, Metal Marmimon, Joe, Thunder, Penguin Mage, Anime Guy, who has a YouTube channel, and he is Anime Guy Kurosaki 1, and Chakmon. I'll link all those patrons in the description, and you can click on their things if you're interested. But yeah, so thanks for joining us. Sorry if it was kind of low energy. We're both tired. Yeah, hopefully our YouTube channel gets some activity and content soon, and I'll also link that in the show notes, and you can probably find it elsewhere as well. And yeah, see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.